Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Thursday evening episode of Ted's Booze Cellar with me, your most gracious host, Ted. Welcome to the premier alcohol review show here on YouTube. It is currently just about to turn 7 minutes past 8 in the evening of the 30th of November 2023. This is the last episode before the month of Christmas begins, and I hope you are all going to be set up to have a good festive period. So we're going to be taking a look today at a drink that I brought back from Germany, and this is CHANTRÉ Weinbrand. So I, obviously not speaking German or French in any capacity, I did have to ask my good friend Philip for some feedback on the name of the drink and what essentially it meant, and I can see here that he did respond with Weinbrand essentially means wine brandy. Brandy is of course made by distilling wine or the leftovers from the winemaking process. But he did state that brand is often used for distilled liquors more generally, not least because it coincidentally means fire or burning in German. And then I did look up the other more general definition of it on the internet, and it said the name comes from when an early member worked as a person who worked at the church and was in charge of providing songs or chants for mass, having derived from the old French word chantré. That's from the houseofnames.com, that second description I gave, and I'm not sure if that's grammatically correct, but hey, I mean, it's the best I've got. But I did go to Chantré's website, the actual brewery that this drink is from, and they've got a good bit of history here on the origins of the drink and their brand. So it says here, back in 1953, Ludwig X developed an unusually smooth brandy and named it after his beloved wife. Did he know then how the success story of his Chantre would unfold? And then underneath it says, in 1954, the start of the national advertising campaign, Chantre becomes known as the top shelf brandy that does not burn the tongue. And then 3 years later it said, Chantre is the market leader on the brandy market. The unique brandy quickly becomes a public favourite and reigns at the top of the brandy sector in Germany up until 1966. And then it says, in 1984, start of a new publicity campaign, the distinctive character stays with a fresh look. And then there's a, sort of a bit of a description of how the brand expands in terms of its profitability over the next decade or so, and then they come to the more recognisable branding that we know it for today from around 2000, 2003 onwards. So there's quite a good bit of interesting history here on the Chantre website, so I'll leave a link to that in the video description down below. Now, I literally got this little bottle in the duty-free shop in the airport, so obviously it's a pretty small bottle. It's 0.1 litre, it's 36% alcohol volume. From what I remember, this wasn't too expensive. It was well within the regions of €5 or below that. It might have been well below that, to be honest. And yeah, I think even if I was to pay like €5 or like 4, I think for the price of this bottle, that's not terribly bad. You think if you go into like a pub in the centre of like a modern metropolitan city and ask for, let's say, 2 doubles of brandy, which is essentially what this bottle is, you probably would be looking at well over €10 at least, really. So yeah, the fact that we've got what is essentially 2 double shots of brandy here, and it's around half that. I will say that I really like the simple design of the bottle. The label is just a very nice colour. It's got that nice gold background to it with the nice white outlines, and the black writing really sort of stands out against the backdrop, and the term Weinbrand being in red there really makes that pop out as well nicely. I wouldn't think that gold and red are natural contrasts against one another, but it honestly does look really handsome, so I'll give it a good stereotypically German understated 9 out of 10. I just think it could be a little bit more expressive, but generally speaking it's a very handsome looking bottle. I'll take off a half a point just because I feel like the cap could be a little bit more authentic. So I'll say 8 to an 8.5 out of 10 for the bottle. It's generally pretty good. Quick snifter in the bottle to start with. Oh wow! Oh, that is a very smooth nose. Goodness me, yeah. Oh, that's an interesting nose if there was one. It's got like the full body of like a slightly warming but not too fiery brandy, kind of like they said on their website. And then it's kind of got like the aftertaste of like a fairly cheap but like still very respectable and heartwarming and enjoying like red wine. Probably kind of has more of like a nose of like a, yeah, kind of like a cheap Cote de Rhone mixed along with a brandy. So yeah, I kind I guess that kind of does fit the bill. So it's a very understated nose. It's a little bit clashing, the sort of after smell and the main body of the smell for me personally, but then maybe I'm just a bit unused to this kind of drink. So you know what? Actually, no, I'll give the nose a good 9 out of 10. I think it generally smells really nice, and it doesn't really overstay its welcome too much, to be honest. I just imagine it probably could be quite harsh for some people, but generally for me, I really like the nose. It's very nice, and of course we won't really know how the nose of a drink like this really stands out until we've obviously smelled it in a shot glass. So yeah, 10 in the glass because it gives it more room to breathe, and you get this really nice vanilla-y aspect to the after smell as well as that more winey after smell. So yeah, the smell in the glass is definitely a solid 10 out of 10. Really, really good nose. Really, really enjoy that. But of course, we won't know what this drink properly tastes like until we've had our palate cleanser. So and then on to the most important part of the video, which is to see what this sucker tastes like. So, to everyone at home, I hope you have a good weekend ahead, and until then, bottoms up and drink responsibly. That's not what I expected it to taste like at all. It's very smooth though. The texture is lovely. The texture is the best thing about the drinking of it. It's so smooth. But yeah, that's not what I expected it to taste like at all. That's very interesting. Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, it's got like the main flavour of like a brandy, and it has got a little bit of the fieriness once you've swallowed it down, but more in that sense like it's warming the cockles of your heart, not so much that it's fiery and burning your senses as it's going down. And that sort of brandy flavour is very sort of smooth. It's very understated. It's sort of very vibrant, but you only really get a sense for like the fieriness once you've fully swallowed it down and consumed it. So I would say that because of that, it does kind of complement the more wine sort of aspects of like the undertones and the aftertaste quite well. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I should point out about it. Hmm. While the after smell and the main body of the smell don't really clash against each other too much, the in the flavour, the more winey aspect and the more brandy aspects of this drink do clash together a little bit. It doesn't really completely ruin the flavour, but it's definitely sort of like preventing me from completely enjoying it. Just dropped my phone, sorry about that. What I think really saves this drink is the fact that even though the main body of the flavour and the after smell I think could be um, a little bit more palatable, again, just for me personally, although I'm more of a whiskey drinker than a brandy drinker, I would say that the after smell and the texture are the best parts about drinking this drink. The texture is unbelievably smooth. There's no roughness to it at all, at all. It is fantastically smooth. And the after smell is really nice because it combines all the best aspects of like a nice, cheap and cheerful red wine, fairly decent brandy, and this sort of strange sort of cocoa-y sweetness, this strange cocoa-y vanilla-y sweetness at the end that kind of just caps everything off. It's definitely probably more of a sipping drink, I would argue, but I think you could definitely enjoy it while sort of mixing it with something or sort of glugging it a bit. So I feel like it's a very well-rounded drink. It's probably just not sort of like blowing me away as much as I thought it would, but I still really, really enjoy it, and I would definitely go out of my way to get this again. So I think I'll give it. Hmm. Probably 7.75, I think. It's not quite 8 out of 10. I just think there's a few little things I would tweak, but generally speaking, if you're looking for like a first time brandy drinker's brandy, I'd say this is a pretty good bet. It's very comforting, it's very warming, it's easy to drink as anything, it's exceptionally smooth, and yeah, it's generally pretty enjoyable. Yeah, I would thoroughly go out of my way to get this again, considering it's so cheap and the fact that it's so easy to drink. Yeah, honestly, really, really nice. A very, very solid brandy indeed. But anyway, if you guys like this video, leave a like, share, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future episodes of Ted's Booze Cellar, let me know in the comments section down below. And if you want to check out any of my social medias, I'll leave the links to all that in the video description down below. But until next time, have fun, stay safe with whatever you're doing, don't do anything I wouldn't do, wash your hands, drink responsibly, know your limits, and I'll see you guys at the bar next time on Ted's Booze Cellar. Bye bye for now. Nice. Pretty good. So yeah, I think I'll give the price a very respectable wave of the nod. What? Actually, no. I'll take